Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that, well, it's often behind the scenes, but it touches nearly every one of us who trusts an accounting or bookkeeping firm with our most sensitive financial secrets. I'm talking about your tax records, right?
Mhm.
Your payroll, your deepest client investment data. I mean, it's all in their hands.
It's a huge amount of responsibility, a colossal amount of trust, really.
Exactly. And as we've seen, far too often, if that trust gets broken, the consequences aren't just severe, they can be, well, catastrophic.
Yeah, truly devastating.
And the harsh reality is that cyber breaches, they aren't just theoretical threats anymore, are they?
Not at all. It's a daily battle for these firms. Absolutely.
We're not just talking about like data theft or financial fraud. We're talking about utterly destroying client trust and facing reputational damage that can take, decades to even begin to repair.
It's not just losing money. It's losing your entire standing, your credibility.
And this isn't just about internal vigilance, right? There are significant external forces pushing on this too.
Oh, definitely. You've got regulatory frameworks like SOC2 system and organization controls.
Right.
And these aren't just suggestions. They legally demand stringent security measures over financial data.
So non-compliance isn't just a slap on the wrist.
No way. We're talking serious legal penalties. And maybe even more damaging, like you said, an irreversible loss of client confidence. That's huge.
So, okay, how do firms build that fortress around that kind of access, that sensitive data?
Well, that's precisely where privileged access management, or PAM, comes into the picture.
PAM, okay.
Yeah. Think of PAM as like the digital equivalent of vaulting the keys to your most sensitive information. Super secure.
Got it. So this deep dive, it's going to be our shortcut to understanding not just what PAM does, but how it fundamentally changes the game for security.
Exactly. How it helps ensure that regulatory compliance and, crucially, safeguards that invaluable client trust.
Okay.
So our mission today really is to unpack why PAM isn't just some, nice-to-have add-on, but why it's an absolutely essential foundational tool for any firm handling sensitive financial information. It's about proactive defense in what's, let's face it, an increasingly hostile digital world.
Yeah, that makes sense. When I first looked at this privileged access management, it sounded a bit, well, intimidating.
I think it's that way.
Yeah, like something maybe only a huge Fortune 500 company would need to worry about. But as we dug into the sources, what really jumped out was how profoundly it applies even to, like, a small local bookkeeping firm.
Absolutely. It scales.
So let's peel back the layers then. Why exactly is PAM so critical for these specific businesses? What are the big drivers making it indispensable right now?
Well, it's clear PAM is essential for protecting that trust we talked about. But trust, once it's broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. If we connect this to the bigger picture, accounting and bookkeeping firms, they manage financial records, tax data, payroll for, countless clients.
Highly sensitive stuff.
Extremely sensitive. So robust security isn't optional. It's a core requirement. PAM really helps safeguard this data by preventing unauthorized access to critical systems. It reinforces that trust.
Okay, so the first big driver has to be regulatory compliance, right? We mentioned SOC2. My understanding is those auditing standards are incredibly strict.
Oh, they are. Very strict.
So how does PAM help firms actually prove they're meeting those requirements?
This is where PAM really comes into its own. Auditing standards like SOC2 demand that firms have extremely strict controls over who accesses financial data.
Right.
PAM directly addresses this. It maintains detailed, immutable audit logs. Think of it as a crystal clear, legally admissible roadmap.
Okay.
It shows who accessed what, when they accessed it, where they accessed it from, everything.
Wow.
So in the event of a breach, this isn't just about knowing what happened afterwards. It gives digital forensics teams the precise info they need right away.
Speeds things up.
Massively.
Yeah.
Accelerates recovery and satisfies those regulatory requirements far faster than any manual process ever could.
Yeah.
It's about building a provable chain of custody for your data.
That immediately makes me think about the client trust angle again. Clients are literally handing over their financial lives. How does a system like PAM stop that trust from just, evaporating?
Well, clients entrust these firms with their most sensitive financial information,
Yeah.
often data they wouldn't even share with, like, their closest friends, right?
Sure.
So a single security breach, even a seemingly minor one, can catastrophically erode this trust. It can just shatter long-term relationships.
Yeah.
PAM's role here is absolutely crucial. It ensures that only explicitly authorized personnel and only when absolutely necessary can access those financial records.
So it minimizes the risk.
Exactly. Minimizes the risk of data leaks and protects those vital relationships. Imagine maybe an internal employee, perhaps
Yeah.
they're disgruntled or maybe just curious, tries to access a high-profile client's tax returns without authorization. Without PAM, that might just slip through the cracks.
It could go unnoticed.
Right. But with PAM, it's flagged instantly. An alert goes off.
And if that trust is broken, despite best efforts, the direct consequences aren't just like feeling bad or losing a client. We're talking real legal and financial penalties, aren't we?
Absolutely. Data breaches aren't just about losing data. They can lead straight to severe legal action and really hefty fines.
Yeah.
Think about the fines under regulations like GDPR or CCPA for mishandling data, even if it's accidental.
Right. Those are huge.
They are. PAM helps accounting firms avoid these kinds of compliance violations and the significant financial liabilities that come with them. It does this by securing those privileged accounts, preventing the very types of breaches that trigger those penalties in the first place.
So it's kind of like an upfront investment that pays off by avoiding potentially devastating costs down the line.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
Which actually leads us to maybe a more positive angle here. Competitive advantage. This isn't just about, avoiding disaster. It can actually help attract new clients, can't it?
It really can. And it's increasingly becoming a powerful differentiator in the market.
How so?
Well, think about it. In a world where data breaches are constantly in the news, front page stuff.
Yeah, it seems like every week.
Exactly. So firms that can demonstrably show they have strong cybersecurity measures in place, they become significantly more attractive to clients. Clients are, understandably, deeply concerned about data security.
Makes sense.
So by actively marketing and, demonstrating a robust PAM framework, an accounting firm can truly set itself apart from competitors who might just vaguely say they have good security.
Right. It's proof versus just a claim.
Exactly. It shifts security from being just a regulatory checkbox to being a powerful sales point. It enhances credibility and definitely helps attract new business.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the why, the sort of absolute necessity of PAM. Now let's pivot to the how. How does PAM actually translate these broad needs into concrete, actionable protections on the ground?
Right. So it really boils down to three core pillars of effective PAM implementation. These are the things that bring those benefits we discussed to life.
Okay, 3 pillars for PAM in action. Walk us through the first one. What is it?
Okay, the first pillar is audit logging. This is where PAM solutions precisely track and record all privileged access to financial systems.
All it.
Every bit. We're talking every login, every file open, every change made, every command executed by anyone with privileged access.
Wow, that's comprehensive.
It really is. And this isn't just for looking back after something happens. It provides a real-time, immutable audit trail for things like SOC 2 compliance. It ensures both transparency and accountability.
Okay.
But maybe more importantly, it enables proactive, real-time monitoring of suspicious activities.
Ah, so you can catch things early.
Exactly. It allows firms to spot potential breaches or maybe internal policy violations before they escalate into serious problems. Imagine trying to piece that all together manually during a forensic investigation. It'd be a nightmare.
Yeah.
PAM just automates and centralizes all that crucial intelligence.
Okay, so audit logging is pillar 1. It's not just about knowing what happened, but actively spotting trouble before it blows up. What's the second key aspect?
The second pillar is access controls. This is really the core function. This is where PAM restricts access to critical financial databases, tax records, sensitive applications, restricts it only to authorized personnel.
So defining who gets in.
Precisely. And it's generally more sophisticated than just a username and password. Think of it like a multi-tiered access matrix.
Okay, like different levels.
Exactly. So a junior accountant might only have read-only access to certain client ledgers, while maybe a payroll manager can actually edit sensitive salary data, but perhaps only during specific business hours.
Ah, context matters.
Right. And maybe only after they pass multi-factor authentication. PAM enforces all this complexity dynamically.
Dynamically. What do you mean?
Well, it means even if an employee changes roles within the firm, their access rights are instantly updated automatically, without manual intervention.
Oh, that's important. That seems like a place where things could easily go wrong.
It's a common vulnerability, actually.
Yeah.
Firms often overlook it, so PAM gives people precisely the access they need for their job, no more, no less, based on their role and the context.
That makes a lot of sense. Just what they need, dynamically adjusted. Okay, and the third pillar?
The third pillar is credential vaulting.
Credential vaulting. Sounds secure.
It is. This isn't just about secure storage, though. It means that privileged credentials, the passwords or keys for your accounting software, database administrator accounts, maybe even cloud platform root accounts.
The really powerful ones.
Exactly. Those credentials are never directly exposed to the users themselves.
Never. How does that work?
Well, instead, PM stores these credentials in a highly secure encrypted vault. Then, when needed, it retrieves and sort of injects them automatically, often on a one-time basis.
Okay.
This removes the risk of those credentials being stolen from someone's laptop or, hard-coded into scripts or shared improperly, which happens more than you'd think.
Right.
It prevents unauthorized access by enforcing really robust security mechanisms like adaptive multi-factor authentication.
Adaptive MFA.
Yeah, so it might say prompt for a different authentication method if you're trying to log in from an unusual location or at an odd time.
Smart.
And it enforces strict password rotation policies automatically. It protects the keys to all that common accounting software firms use, like QuickBooks, SAP, Oracle Financials, other critical platforms, without anyone ever actually having to see the real password.
Wow. Okay, so let me try and bring this all together then. In this highly regulated, incredibly data-sensitive world of accounting and bookkeeping, implementing privileged access management, PM, it's absolutely essential. It's not really optional anymore.
That sums it up perfectly. It's the linchpin. It holds together safeguarding financial records, maintaining compliance, and maybe most importantly, protecting that fundamental bedrock of client trust.
Right.
Exactly. By leveraging these comprehensive PAM solutions, specifically thinking about that robust audit logging, the really granular access controls, and the secure credential vaulting, firms can significantly enhance their overall security posture.
Avoid breaches.
Prevent data breaches, absolutely. And ensure business continuity in what's, let's face it, an increasingly risky and complex digital landscape.
And it seems like as cyber threats continue to evolve and just get more sophisticated,
Which they do, constantly.
accounting firms really have to proactively adopt and adapt their PAM strategies. This isn't like a one-time fix, is it?
Not at all. It's an ongoing commitment. You have to keep refining it to stay compliant, stay competitive, and stay secure in this, increasingly digital financial environment.
So thinking ahead, what does this all mean for the future? I mean, as artificial intelligence becomes even more integrated into financial services, automating tasks, making complex decisions,
That's happening fast.
how might the actual definition of privileged access evolve? What new challenges or maybe even opportunities will this present for firms trying to secure their data when the AI itself could potentially be a privileged user?
That's a fascinating question, and definitely something firms need to start thinking about right now. How do you manage the privileges of a non-human entity? It opens up a whole new dimension to PAM now.